actually hooped this by myself and I am so proud of it. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone and welcome to Crafting with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. In today's little chat, we will do an official unboxing of my new embroidery machine that I am so excited to share with you. We are going to go through all the steps. I'm going to show you everything that came along with the machine, as well as chat with you about the various things you will need to know if you plan on going on your embroidery journey with Ricoma. Now, at the end of this video, if you find it helpful, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Now, without further ado, let's look at all the things, and I'm going to do my best to answer all of the questions regarding this process. Let's get started. The first thing I want you to know about this process of unboxing the embroidery machine is that there are actually 10 videos, 10 training videos that you'll need to watch in order to understand how to use the machine. They are called pre-training videos that you watch, and then you take a quiz, and then after you finish all 10 of the training videos, then you get to participate in what's called a live training opportunity. But the videos, the pre-training, actually prepare you for the live. Now, I have not had my live training yet. I just finished my pre-training. And what I'm going to do in this video is kind of take you through what the 10 pre-training videos have to offer and give you the tips and tricks that I wish I would have known before. So before you even start the first pre-training video, you get an introductory video which shows you everything that comes with the machine. So there's a toolbox, there are hoops, there are multiple tools. It's just a lot of stuff that comes with this embroidery machine, and it would just not make sense for me to just go down the list and show you all the things, because you're going to get to see all of those things once you watch the first introductory video. Now, my advice about the introductory video and the pre-training videos is that you actually start to watch them as soon as you purchase your machine. So as soon as you know that it's on the way, it's best if you go ahead and start watching the pre-training videos, because that will help you with setup. It'll help you understand how to put the table together. It'll help you understand everything that's going to come along with that machine. You are going to need assistance. So even if you have, if you just have your husband or somebody there who's going to help you, that one person is also going to need some other people to help. I was lucky enough to get my husband and my son and his friend to come help. So it took all three of them to carry it. And even with three of them, they needed all the manpower they could get because it's very heavy. This machine that I have is super, super heavy. So I do recommend having someone ready, readily available to help you carry the machine and get it out of the crate and be prepared to put it wherever you're going to put it. But it's best to go ahead and get started with the pre-training before the machine actually arrives. Okay, so now let's start to talk about the setup and what you'll see once you get to the first video. I'm not going to review how to assemble the table because the video that's included in pre-training is excellent. I do highly recommend it. But here, some of the things I highlighted was adjusting the tension rack to the highest level. You just loosen the knobs, and then once you get it up to the highest level, you just tighten the knobs back up. The next thing I needed to do in the pre-training was remove the bubble wrap from the screen, carefully inspect the screen to make sure there was no damage. And then once I removed the bubble wrap, what I needed to do was take one of the screwdrivers from the toolbox and adjust the screen to my liking. So once you remove the bubble wrap, it will be loose. You just use the Phillips screwdriver and just adjust the screws on the side, and also adjust that knob that's right there on the right. Once you have it in place to your liking, what you'll do is get the power cord. So as you can see right now, if you look on the right, the power cord is still not inserted, but I'm going to adjust that. Then I'm going to insert the power cord. Now I do have mine in a surge protector, and then after I inserted it, I powered it on, the screen came on, and I left it just like that. I did not make any adjustments to the display. Lesson 2 is all about threading the machine, but before I started threading, I took out the 4 boxes of thread that came with the machine. So there are bobbins and there are 4 boxes. 3 of the boxes, I believe, were labeled as polyester, and they had just multiple colors. I was very impressed with all of the different colors. The brand of thread that came with the machine is the Madeira thread. And I think each box had, I think 12 spools of thread in various colors. I wasn't sure if I needed to keep them in a certain order or anything like that, so I just kind of put them all together. And once I took all of them from the package, then I started sorting them, trying to figure out like what was the difference between some of the blues and yellows and all of that, but I didn't really see a difference. And maybe it's just because I'm naive about this whole embroidery process, but I unboxed all the thread first, and then once I had all of it out of the boxes, then I started to move it over to the machine. When I got ready to start moving the thread over to the machine, I noticed that I was missing one of the spool holders. And luckily, Ricoma sends a lot of extras of material, so you don't need to be worried about missing anything or losing anything, because they send lots and lots of extras. And I had an extra spool holder. And I also decided to remove that foam piece and that bigger spool holder, the plastic part. I had a hard time doing it at first, and then before I realized all I needed to do was just kind of twist and pull. But once I got going with it, I just started to remove all of the foam and the little pieces right there. And then once I finished, I started to move the thread over. After removing all of these foam pieces and I started practicing with the machine, I realized that I should not have removed these. So do not remove the foam pieces. It's okay to remove the small plastic piece, but do not remove the foam piece. So if you're using these small size of threads, it's okay to remove the cap, but do not remove the foam piece. Once all the spools were removed, I started to put the thread on the spool holders, and I wanted to put the popular colors in the front of the machine. So at the very, very front, I started with white, red, blue, and black. Those are popular colors to me. I also included yellow, and I pretty much followed that same pattern for the second row. And then once I got to the third and fourth row, I just started to fill it in. And then the 3 extra spool holders on the left over there, I just added extra thread. And even with that, I still had more thread left over because Ricoma made sure to send enough thread for a while, I think. Since the machine comes pre-threaded, what I needed to do here was pull the thread that's already in place down and tie a knot to each one of the spools that are on the spool holders to attach the new thread to the existing thread. So first what I did was I just started to pull it down slowly because I was honestly very intimidated by this part. And even though I'm smiling right there, I was low-key nervous. But what I did was I just took it one row at a time, and I just pulled it down and I tied a knot to each one of those new spools of thread. The instructions in the pre-training video suggest that you pull all of the thread down at one time after all of the thread has been attached. I found that it's more helpful to pull one at a time. So when I finished threading and connecting mine, I thought it was more helpful to pull like number 20 and check it, number 19, number 18, and so on and so forth until I double checked all of the threads, because there are 20 needles, which means there are 20 strings of thread or 20 spools of thread, and it was better for me to check it one at a time. If any of your thread pops during this process, my advice is to follow the path of wherever it pops. So if it pops here in the middle, follow the path and make sure you get it connected all the way up or down wherever is necessary. The next thing you're going to do once you have all of your thread is now it's time to actually thread it through the eye of the needle and into the presser foot. Next step in this process is to thread the needle, all 20 of those needles, from the front to the back. So Ricoma suggests that the way to do it is to thread through from the front all the way through the back of the eye and then down through the presser foot. This was hard for me. I struggled, but I was able to do it. I just turned my music up on my headphones and I took my time and I threaded each one of those spools of thread through the eye of the needle. This will require some patience. You might have to take a break. You might need to find good lighting or a flashlight or do whatever it takes to get all 20 of those needles threaded. Lesson 3 is all about thread tension and how to make adjustments to the various knobs in order to achieve the best tension for your thread. Lesson 4 is a panel overview, so it goes into all of the features of the panel. This is a new panel for Ricoma, and I'm so excited about this because their older machines don't have this panel. It's completely touchscreen. I can add my USB over here. Lesson 4 just goes into detail about how to use the panel, how to use the features, and all of that. As you can see, it's still in the exact same position. I have not touched it. I have not done anything to it because I'll do that when I get my actual live training. But everything in lesson 4 is about how to use the panel. Lesson 5 is all about embroidering flats, but before you can do that, you have to remove the cap attachment because the machine comes prepared to embroider caps. So once I was able to successfully get the hex tool in that screw right there, I was able to adjust it just to loosen the left and the right so that I could remove the cap attachment. When it is time to install these flat brackets, make sure that you install the brackets in between here. So you're gonna, when you put it on the rail, make sure that it's in between these two bars right here. Don't take the screws off. Just make sure that once you put the bracket on the rail between number 5 and number 6, that it's in between here on both sides. Now that the cap attachment is out of the way, I'm going to take the first flat bracket. Your machine will come with 2. I'm going to count over to the 5th space and I'm going to line the bracket up on the rail in the 5th space from the left. and I am going to start to insert the bracket there, making sure to insert it in between those two caps on the top. Once the bracket is in place, I'll use the 4mm Allen wrench again to tighten the bracket into place. Once I had the left side complete, I repeated the process on the right side, once again counting over to the 5th spot and inserting the bracket. I kind of tighten it first with my fingers, and then I use the 4mm Allen wrench to get it tightened into place the way it was supposed to be. The Ricoma that I have, the Marquee 2001, comes with multiple hoops. And in order to find the right or the label on the hoops, just look at the back and you can see that each of the hoops are labeled. So there are A hoops, there are 2 A's, 2 B's, and I think there are 2 C's. The hoop that I'm going to be responsible for having prepared for my live training is hoop C. So I'm going to get the backing and prepare to hoop the shirt. In order to hoop the shirt, I'm going to take the bottom of the hoop C in my case, and I am going to insert it inside the shirt. I'm using 2 sheets of cut away stabilizer. I'm going to put those on top according to the instructions, and then I'm taking the top of the hoop and I am going to place it on top of the shirt. So first I'm just straightening it out. I'm very nervous about this, not sure why. And then I'm going to place it down and press it inside the bottom hoops until it's snug. I didn't feel like it was snug enough, so I put my hand inside the shirt and I started to just tighten the bottom hoop to make sure it would be snug enough on the top hoop. The next thing I did was turn the shirt inside out and just gave it a little tap and made sure it wasn't too loose or too tight. Lesson 6 is all about embroidering caps, and I would definitely highly suggest referring to the video, the pre-training videos, for an in-depth explanation and video of how to do it. I was able to get my cap ready for my live training, but my process was not seamless. Lesson 7 gives an overview of different types of stabilizer and when to use each type. Lesson 8 is about digitizing, and really I just took notes when I was watching that part. It just talked about when you will need bulk orders and when to outsource, how to do custom orders, and different types of files. So there wasn't really any type of video that I made about it. I just really took notes about what I was learning during that part. Okay, we have reached the end of the video where I've shown you everything I've learned so far in this process. We talked about the toolbox and everything that comes along with the machine. We talked about the hoops. You saw me hoop a shirt and get my hats hooped and everything in preparation for my live training. So I'm very excited about that. If there are still questions you have, please make sure you leave them below the video. If you're interested in getting started with your embroidery journey with Ricoma, make sure you check out the links below the video. Maybe you're not ready for a 20 needle. I'm not even sure if I'm ready for a 20 needle, but we are going to learn all the things together. I would love for you to come on this journey with me. Now, hopefully you have found this helpful. If you did, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications, because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye.